Welcome back, Sugar Plum. I'm here to give you another very yummy update. We have now started to conclude GT June, and we're going to move into joyful July. The gold price, not doing much, which is good. The S&P 500 has soared and actually printed a new all-time high. We now conclude that Donald Pump was actually playing chess with the tariffs, not checkers. On top of that, I've got some cracker pDAI updates here for you, friends, and I really want to get us into the mood because we are going to be starting one hell of a journey. This one's for the history books. It's happening. Let me start now and show you all these wonderful posts by Mr. Dirty Crypto out here. So I'm going to show you these posts, but I'm going to give you the overall synopsis. Okay, so 99 Capital, a mysterious figure in the pDAI community, will be releasing a deep dive on pDAI with these new PulseChain Pioneer updates. So it may include themes of a MakerDAO resurrection, pDAI yield being given out, paying off the debt, connecting the pieces again. So in this week, pDAI is up 70% for the past 7 days. Pretty cool. It's up 70% in a week. So I'm going to give you more of the chart action out here. See, friends, there are 3 levels here. We are now back to the Catty level. Catty, which was, she's the first boss. Okay, but she comes later, but she's like the lowest level price boss, right? She's a witch, you know? If you're a mage, she's going to drop you like, you know, a +8 staff. But maybe you're not a mage, right? So the developers, they got to give you like an item that you get from her. So she probably drops like a ring that maybe gives you like an extra item slot, right? So now you can infuse something and maybe like, you know, maybe if you're a barbarian or warrior or something, maybe you can get like, you know, +5 strength. Now you can get an extra slot. You put the mana scroll into your ring. You know what I mean? So Catty's now the boss. We've now earned the items here. And you probably got a skill level up as well, right? So, you know, you've got your little tree path along the way. You get to choose which skills you want. Now, Richard Hart is the next one at 0.4 cents. I mean, we're so close. It's only like a 25% move up. 0.4 cents, which is $0.004 here, is right here. And then Maria Glitter Pants is on top of that. Obviously, when, I'll show you now, when Richard and the level is claimed, he's going to drop his top hat, okay? So the top hat, it's probably going to give you a couple of abilities, and it'll probably, like, you know, usually in these RPG games, if you get like a weird top hat item, it usually gives you like, you know, a +15% chance to evade, and maybe the random number generator, you get like +10 to luck. Okay, that seems to be fitting. I haven't decided what Maria Glitter Pants is going to drop, but actually I think it's maybe Maria Glitter Pants is actually going to drop his pants. That's going to be good. All right, so after that, it will conclude. Oh, the price action has now gobbled up all of the negative FUD. Okay, let's go through the actual posts here to show you from Mr. Dirty Crypto. Justin, that CDAI total reserves have officially surpassed MakerDAO's bad debt. The only thing left to understand is Art, Inc., Cull. Ponders if he should spell it out to everyone or keep it a believers-only cycle. No narrative is the new narrative. Convergence of a thesis and reality are now complete. The leap was possibly due to a security audit written for MakerDAO. The audit refers to the exact conditions that are set up on PulseChain. He calls the PulseChain pioneers benevolent and draws a comparison to reading the Bitcoin white paper for the first time. He will post a special report that will blow your minds tomorrow. And yes, it's not just another fancy Friday night for most of you. Another post from Mr. Dirty Crypto. PulseChain. I love it when Richard Hart speaks about the Genius Act, which is all about stablecoin. So Richard Hart, friends, talking about the Genius Act. 3 Commas Capital has replied, retweeted here, innovation will not be stifled. At this point, there are no excuses. Literally no excuses for everyone out here. I don't want to hear any whinging as we go up, okay? The only whinging I want to hear is that you listened to the wrong people and you're a cuck, okay? Which we can help. We can help with that, okay? Also, friends, is this a coincidence? Richard Hart and Elon Musk, secret connection. Exactly 2 days ago, Richard Hart made a post saying, you want to be useful. And then Elon tweets in the same day, being useful at scale is the hardest thing in the world. You know, I know there could be a connection, but also they could just be tapped in some part of the, like, you know, the cloud, and maybe their thoughts swim in the same area. Just because maybe they're just on that type of vibration length, you know? We've had that happen many times in the crypto channel, friends. How many times I've said a word, I've literally never said this word for like, you know, 10 or 15 years, literally that long. And you guys will say, oh my gosh, Sami, I was just watching a whole video about that word literally yesterday. You know, we're all like, it's just, yeah, a lot of these things out here. A lot of this stuff, it's all bleeding edge science. Remember, pDAI got listed in the stablecoin section on CoinGecko. That's why pDAI is, oh, I love the black outline. Yes! Nothing like a black outline to make the logo pop, friends. Look how beautiful it is. So crisp. So, it's all coming together. It's all happening on PulseChain. I know you're seeing the prices go absolutely poopers nowhere. Let's look at the 24-hour price readings. 3% and 4% is nothing. Just to show you how undervalued PulseChain is, just keep reminding you, PulseChain's market cap is less than the market cap of the actual Pulse Ethereum treasury. You know, it could be big dumpers, could be big manipulations. It is what it is. We're pretty much stuck here for a while. Now, because you're a pumpkin pie and a cutie pie, I would like to show you something that keeps shocking me. The global liquidity fractal for Bitcoin and global M2, friends, it's still ticking up. Look at this, in September, it's literally still ticking up right now. So basically, they're still printing money now, and it's going to come out in like 6 or 8 weeks, which moves us to September, which means we're still rallying in September. Well, like, are we going to get like one massive, giant burst? Is that what's going to happen? We'll see. Shout out to Mr. Decentralized Me, who replied as well. Looking forward to this report tomorrow. And Mr. Sunshine, first cycle unicorn pDAI. There you go out here. And shout out to PTGC community and Maxi here. Oh, wonderful. So there's a stablecoin super cycle. What is pDAI? It's an unstable coin. Okay. And yeah, man, it makes it everything. I'm not going to back down, bro. Go watch some other shit. Go watch another 15th boring token out here. This is the first cycle unicorn potential. Is a freaking stablecoin super cycle thesis. Okay. It's literally never before done. Ever. It is literally one for the history books if this works out. A stablecoin that starts from zero. We mint the supply. We go do a community taker of DAI. There's no blacklist function. It's a cult within a cult. And the founder of the chain freaking funds it at zero. He dies twice and it still resurrects. Okay. You've literally never seen anything like this before. And I'm not even going to apologize. You're in the Bitcoin camp now. You're literally in the Bitcoin camp if this works out. I'm not joking. And by the way, if you look at the return on the multiple of the price, you are in the Bitcoin camp. It's not even like whatever your opinion is. Because if you look at the pDAI price chart, from the bottom to the top would be a 555,555x to $1 anyway. Okay, so it's not even up to like anyone's opinion, but it is super unique. But could go to zero for a third time. In other news, friends, Circle are worth 40 billion market cap right now. So just to give you an update, you know, Ripple, which is the XRP token owners, they gave a $5 billion bid to Circle because they tried to buy him, and they tried to give him in shitty XRP tokens, and Circle rejected it. And now they're worth 40 billion, like a week after listing. So man, it's stablecoin super cycle, friends. This is just like, it's happening, man. Like these stablecoins, everyone wants access to the stablecoins, the US dollar. I'm seeing, friends, I actually want to show you this. I'll show you this. Dildo LeClair is Bitcoin Maxi. He hasn't blocked me. I don't call him, but it's such a good name, you know? Now, Dildo out here, he's made this lovely post, this long post. And I just want to share there's a Trojan horse thing. So basically, Dildo's post is, okay, in 2021, he was wondering why his thesis didn't come out to play, which is that Bitcoin was trading in what we call contango, where the futures is above spot, right? Because Bitcoin trades like a commodity, but there's no cost to store it, right? So why was it trading like that? Well, he thought that all these billions of dollars of institutions with their money, they would come in, put their money on crypto exchanges, and then they would help pump the price by grabbing the yield for themselves. So they would buy basically the future and they'd buy the spot, and they'd sell the future, okay? And they hold that 3 months and they earn the yield. You earn like what, a 10% annualized or 12%, like basically like it's yield on US dollar. Now it never came and played out. So, and then the bear market happened and it all unwinded. But what he said is, he says this theory is actually, he believes, is playing out with MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. So what he said now is that's why he used the Trojan horse image here. He goes, Michael Saylor, what he's done is, okay, he's constructed a bond vehicle, which is what I said, right? So what Michael Saylor's done is, there's bond money out there, and funny, friends, before I cut the bullshit story, okay? The US government is going to ban whatever the hell is they're doing in the next bear market. Okay, it's very obvious they're going to ban it, but it hasn't exploded yet. So let's do the fun part. So what I mean by that is they found a way to cheat. So basically there's all this money in the world, US companies, they have to buy bonds. You can only buy bonds. They're meant to be safe policy stuff. Safe. Relatively safe. Fiat money printed safe, okay? They have to buy bonds. So what Michael Saylor did is he goes, hey, I'm going to put Bitcoin on the bond market. I'm actually going to give you a bond to buy. And the bond just goes buys Bitcoin. Okay. Friends, it would be like, I'll use this example. It would be like you're an American citizen company and you're only allowed to buy shares. So what I do is I put my altcoins into a basket and then I just release shares on the basket. There you go. Now you can buy the altcoins on the stock market. You can actually buy it on the NASDAQ and stuff out here. It's like you're wrapping the vehicle up right now. With equity, it's risk stuff. The thing is with bonds, you're dealing with the US dollar now and the sanctity of what a bond is, where it's meant to be like low risk. So that's why he says it's a Trojan horse, as in, Michael Saylor's like going to get in all these billions and billions of dollars. It's funny here. He takes a stab at altcoins because he calls it, if you see here, here he is, the word crypto complex. He goes, interesting, the crypto complex has spent billions attempting to create such product market fit. Ideas such as synthetic stable coins built upon perpetual swap contracts, which never really landed much with TradFi. So it's talking about, stable coins and like the crypto complex. So it's basically in an overall scope is it's another Bitcoin maxi who really thinks we're just going to have every person in the world, they're never going to go for any other technological innovation at all. They're just going to keep buying Bitcoin forever. And they're just going to look at that. It literally just pretty much is that. I don't think so. But we'll see. Now, I'm sure you've seen the big news by now, friends. So this is Treasury Secretary Besant. His tariffs on China, they're now 30%. And China's ones are 10%. So remember, man, it's now 30%, but it went up to like 160%. That was in the midst of the chaos of the stock market bottoming, right? Now that the thing's fixed, S&P 500 new high. So you missed out on a massive like 25% return on the stock market if you were to cheat out. Also, same as Bitcoin, remember, friends? Bitcoin, from those lows, Bitcoin is 42% higher. You can actually come back and you can check it. Just another good example of how these things all work, right? So Bitcoin, remember, friends, people did sell here. So I'm not even going to do the exact low, but many people did sell around here. Not the exact low, but around here. You're up, okay, 38%. And I know it doesn't look like much on the chart, but man, it is much. If you sell everything, you know what I mean? If you can only buy back. So friends, if you sold here, right, you can only buy back, oh my gosh, you can only buy back, say, 74% of your original position already. And it's only been a month and a half. Yeah, so if you sold one Bitcoin, you can only buy back 0.75 Bitcoin, pretty much. Okay, so you've just like, and this is a month, man, just like bang. People will make that mistake again. They do that mistake again and then do another 0.75 on that. I'll do that number. Now you can only buy back 0.56 Bitcoin. Basically, see, you screw this up 2 times, you've lost half your stack. Whoa. You literally lost half your stack, man. Yeah, dangerous. That's why it's so dangerous to play around with your portfolio like with that. You know, friends, that's huge. Imagine, there will be people at the top of this cycle, they hit about 600K. Yeah. And they might do the numbers in the bear market and they look at it and they're going to kill them. They're literally going to like kick themselves. They're going to be really upset because they'll be like, oh, if I didn't trade or if I just held, if I did this and if I literally didn't trade, if I just sat in my hands, I would have had my clean $1 million number and I would have sold the top because I would have hit $1 million. But instead, you tried to get cute. You had 600K, so you needed another 2x. You know, so Bitcoin at 200K didn't do anything for you. You needed Bitcoin 400K, but you're like, oh, because I want $1 million out of the market, and then it ends up being the top because everybody thinks about that at the same time. Turns out, nothing ever happens. A post from Giga. Nothing ever happens. I really believe this meme, friends, is going to take over the world. It's such a freaking powerful meme, but I think it's eventually going to bleed into something actually happening. Okay. Like UFO disclosure, you know, friends, I've got to make a whole video on this later, but there's this dude. Okay. I want to see this video, but there's this dude now, and it's crazy. Okay. It's crazy. He's like a channeler, but I don't know if there's any authenticity, but what he was saying, man, it was wild because it made so much sense. He says, when the disclosure time is going to come where they, you know, aliens, they're not really aliens, dude. They're part of Earth, right? It's just like where they're like, you know, just they're the non-human entities, okay? The smart dudes. When they finally reveal themselves to us, they're not going to come and like land on the White House, take a dump on your lawn, okay? First, they'll be on like the coastlines of beaches and it will be distant spaceships and they'll just be there and they'll just basically be watching. So we get like warmed up to them and they'll just probably sit there for like a day. And then they do it again, like, you know, later on they'll sit there for like a week or something. And people can come out and go, whoa, what are these things in the sky out there, right? So it's kind of like warming you up to the idea that, hey, you're not alone to not get any of these new shocks. So that's why I think when I think of nothing ever happens, I think actually nothing's ever going to happen. And then that happens. I don't know why. I feel like we're going to build into that. We've finally convinced the whole world nothing ever happens. And then we actually get aliens. That'd be funny. Earlier post from Donald Trump, friends. Remember, Trump will probably just extend short-term debt. So I'm going to read this for you. A few weeks ago, your friend showing me, I made some videos, right? I was discussing how Donald Trump is cornered by Jay Powell, major loser, with the debt rollover. So we also saw Donald Trump, really few friends, hours ago, he made comments saying like, you know, he's not happy with Jay Powell. He says hopefully Jay Powell just like resigns himself. Yep, and Donald Trump was saying we had the worst inflation numbers ever under Joe Biden, and they've all come down, but the rates are still the same. This makes no sense. Okay, so remember the 4-year halvening cycle for crypto coincides with the 4-year debt rollover, which the government's been rolling over debt ever since 2008. There's been a pause now. We are on the deadline. Yeah, it's coming down to the wire. So they're gonna have to roll over the debt. So that's why Trump just says, will extend short-term debt, right? Which means instead of doing a big 4-year rollover there, so why doesn't he do that? It's because the rates are like 4.5%. They're huge, right? He wants them down at 3.5% because that 1% rating drop, that's huge. It's like 25% of your interest repayment gone. That's enormous. I think he ends up working it out between now and the end of his presidency. He would have an extra $900 billion to spend. You could do a lot with that, a lot. Otherwise, if you don't, you're just paying the US Fed the interest, that $900 billion. That's why Donald Trump said, man, with the stroke of a pen, you could just go and fix everything. Why are you like so scum, major loser? So he might do a technical option to roll the short-term debt over, and then hopefully rates come down, and then you can do the long-term debt. The thing, though, is when they do that rollover, that's the old season. That's the business stuff. Because Because what happens is, okay, they roll over the debt, they book it in. Now their balance sheet says, oh, we don't have to like, you know, save this much money anymore for the next 4 years. It's only this much. And they're like, oh, wow, we have like, and it'll be like a number, oh, we have $250 billion a year. We can just go spend. And that is when that's what kickstarts it, right? We haven't had that yet. We're waiting for them to do the agreement. What are they going to do with the debt rollover? We don't know. And friends, if you just heard that noise, man, this is just the funniest thing ever. I placed my bids. I've just been doing some little degeneracy trading. I placed my bid. You're not going to believe it. I looked at where I should be getting long, and I'm like, nah, Wintermute is market making this. Okay? And I placed my bid where my stop would be. And I've just left it there for a day. And what you just saw now, in literally seconds, I just left it there, right? And I just checked the market. I'll show you actually now. I'll show you a chart. This happened literally live here, friends. So literally, okay, imagine this is what the chart looks like, okay? It's come up and doing this. And so you think, oh, time to get long, and we're just going to go up for the continuation, the momentum, right? No. But I know Wintermute's in this, okay? I'll tell you, it's tough. Wintermute's in this. So what I did is, I'm like, you know what? I know you guys are scammers. So, by the way, this is all markets, okay? This is why it's tough, man. You can't all win. Everyone's getting long here. Everyone, they're all playing long. What I did was, I go, well, normally I would be getting long, and my stop is here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to place my bid here and put my stop down there. Guess what? It did literally, I'm going to just show you. So for a whole day, it's doing da-da-da-da-da. I'm checking the chart. There's a little spike up thing. Everything's down. And then, this is literally as I'm recording here for you, literally seconds ago, the market does this. Bang! That noise, me getting filled. And then I check it, it's actually back for, like, literally, I'm out, like, straight away. I just checked it, just literally within a minute. Oh, you scammers. It literally comes in, oh, cool, let's scam them out, bang. It's fun, but it ain't the way to kill it. Okay, see, friends, this game. See this game, man? See this game? We might also ask, what would I have done if the market just went up without me? Well, who cares? That's it. If you FOMO anything, man, you just... That's why, friends, like, you got to understand, right? When you're day trading, yeah, let's say you're day trading, or like even just do your trading, okay? There's only like 1 million per day to make out of 100,000 people trading. Yeah, and that guy on top maybe makes like 300K, and the guy under him makes like 50K in the day, and then other people then 10, 9, 8, you know, it goes like that. There's only 1 million in the pool. But if you hold for a year, friends, there's not $1 million a day to be made. Now you have, so this is $1 million to be made, and this is literally, you know, 100,000 people. But what happens is, if you hold for a year, you have, say, $400 million for the whole year, but you don't split it between 100,000 people because not everybody's holding. Yeah, that new money coming in. What actually happens is, so you might increase the number of coming in by 400, but you don't increase the amount of people getting paid by 400. Maybe you only increase it by like 10, right? Maybe there's only a million people to get paid. 1 million people. Look, if I just do that number now, I just calculated it, right? On the day trading here, it's $10 per person, right? See how thin your edge is? 10, each person's, yeah, your average is 10. That's why most people are losing, right? But who's winning? Everyone on top, yeah? And then, look at this. If you're holding, it's $400 per person. Do you see? That's what happens. And the power of compound interest. And then this is the tough part, right? The million people day trading that you know, the 100,000 people, you might think you're in the top, you know, the top 15%. The top 15,000 are winning. Yeah, but you know, so we're in 2025. Eventually it'll be 2030. If you're still trading, yeah, there's no guarantee that you're still in the top 15%. You can slide. Very easily slide off because your edge loses, it decays, edge volatility changes, right? You see how tough that's why the game, fans, it's constantly tough. That's why when you are, fans, that's why I'm here doing what I'm doing, man, because I don't want, look, there's how many people we have here? You know, thousands. There's like 10,000 of us. Okay, almost 40,000 subs. Whatever. Literally 90% of us win. You just hold long term. I like that. I want everyone to win. I like that. You know, that's for us. Yeah, but in this game, if there's like 10,000 people, you don't get 90% winning, bro. In here, okay, you get, okay, every day it's 30% of people winning by day. But if you roll after a year, it's 1%. So if I already know this, right? If I was teaching trading, if I was teaching, which I wouldn't like. It takes. I trade myself, bro. Why don't teach? Give edge away for free and then destroy stuff. But if you was teaching trading, friends, there would be literally only out of 10,000 people, right? Only 100 win in 1 year. Okay. Well, long-term investing, right? Out of 10,000 people, eventually, right? Question mark, 9,000 win. Yeah. Look at the odds on that. That's wild, dude. Compare 100 people to 9,000. But what does everyone run towards? The one on the left. Why? Because dopamine. You get dopamine. Look at the pain we've gone through. Up and down. And I don't even want to hear the word alt season anymore. I don't want to hear it. You know, we don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I mean, all our dreams up and down. Why is the business cycle taking so long? Why is every freaking shitty Ponzi in the world go up but crypto? Gold went up, bro. Gold and stocks and property, everything but our altcoins. What type of generational curse is this? See? No dopamine, man. But all the weekends are out. So there will be euphoria like you wouldn't believe once this thing starts to kick on the way. So I hope you understand this, friends. I really do give you the highest value content in crypto. Now you really see from this is a multi-dimensional perspective, like when you hold what you're actually doing. Remember, the secret to markets is positioning. Yeah, if you're constantly holding long term, yeah, you are positioned for the inevitable, hopefully this decade, business cycle go up. You're positioned for that. It doesn't mean it happens tomorrow or yesterday. We want it to, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, right? And then look at the trading part. If you're trading up and down, yeah, you are positioned for a 1% win rate game in every 12-month period, right? So remember, life is about, friends, but you don't predict the future. It's not predicting the future. That's why everyone comes to markets, they think, oh, you know when it's going to go up and when it's going to go down. No, right? What you do is you go, oh, I know how to maximize and destroy everyone else's returns when and if it goes up. That's what I know how to do. That's what long-term holding spot altcoins and stuff, that's what you're doing, you know? That's what it is. It's kind of like, okay, you know, you were playing a game, yeah? I know how to set up a game where tails, I got to pay you $1. But if it's heads, you got to pay me $30. Think about that, friends. Do you want to play the game as the tails guy? You don't? Okay, well, that's what you're doing at trading, by the way. Yeah, out of 30 people, one gets to win. Out of 30 people, man. Literally, that's 3%. One gets to win in 12 months. Okay? You're going to be playing with the heads. That's why you got to think about it, visualize it. That's why I'm here 18 hours a day. Okay? Esoteric friendship and knowledge. That's what, when you're holding long term, that's what it is. Okay? Now, of course, right? We're like, man, can't we just please, can we just go up in a staircase, bro? Yeah, I want it to happen. The thing is, though, the staircase going up, friends, that's stock market stuff. That's dopamine fulfilling stuff. That's buying a US government bond. If that was given to markets of crypto, we would not get our explosive returns. Okay, so we know we can't get that, even though we want it. But what do you want more? Do you want your dopamine more, or do you want to win more? Do you actually want to win at the end, right? When the clock finally runs off to zero, what do you want, right? I want to win at the end. I don't care, friends. I don't care. Do you know how many times big KOL will drop my name? Sam is too bullish. He's just too bullish. He just doesn't know when to go bearish. I'm thinking, bro, how are you in crypto talking like a filthy little Jeet? Too bullish. What part of play the whole cycle is too hard for you to understand? They don't get it. It makes you wonder, bro, how'd you make all your money? And then you realize, oh, maybe a lot of ICOs, maybe insider deals, maybe sponsorship, maybe they're getting commissions and referrals from trading, enough to basically boost them up over there. And I'm like, oh, I don't think you played the whole cycle ever. I think you've just been finding other ways to make money the whole time, but you're just present in a community of people there, friends. So this high value content in crypto, friends, I'm glad you can learn from it, because when I came in, I wish there was someone like me. I wish. But this is our gift. We have each other, the power of friendship. Like, subscribe, catch you soon.